All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. We have another great lineup for you all. So, my name is Nicole. I've been with Plexus for about 2 years now, and my family and I have had incredible results, and we just love every little bit about Plexus. So, one of the amazing things that I really love about Plexus is that it focuses on gut health, which in return helps us in, like, I don't even know if there's a number, like thousands of different ways. Okay, it brings us good health, community and business. It's just a wonderful company that I have been introduced to, and we are here to share it all with you guys. Okay, and as you will see, 4 different stories, all different things, all because of balancing out their gut. So I am going to turn the mic over to Miss Bethany, and I look forward to hearing about her journey.
Well, all you people who have your cameras off, that was me 2 months ago. If you would have told me 2 months ago that I would be doing this right now, I would have laughed in your face. Plexus is amazing. I suffered from constipation and I had chronic ear infections when I was little, so I had a lot of antibiotics and sorry, I'm nervous, so I'm shaky. But so I just had leaky gut. I had trouble, just in general. And that led to a lot of different issues like depression, anxiety in my 20s. So I was on the medicine, the Zoloft and all of that. And you have to, once you start it, then you have to keep upping the dose, to make sure that you're baseline again. And I finally paid money to go to a nutritionist to see, okay, so what am I allergic to? And basically the list was like, many, many different things. And so I went paleo, cut out gluten, dairy, sugar. And for 5 years, I lost the weight. I lost like 60 pounds, but I still was constipated and I still needed my, I didn't feel totally okay. I felt pretty good, but I did go off the medicine to try to just be healthy, and eat salad or whatever to try to get the nutrients that way. And then after a few years, I just thought, you know what, I really like donuts and I really love cheese. So I don't care that I just spent $500 on this. I'm going to eat these things. And so obviously the weight's going to come back on. And so fast forward June, I'm sitting in my bedroom with my husband and talking about how I've been crying every day, having emotional outbursts, feeling road rage about, everything and anything, just hormonally imbalanced and, and what can we do about it? And so I decided that I needed to do this Plexus thing that I had said no thank you to 6 months earlier because it's too expensive. So I sat down with my husband and we planned on going paleo together and also to try Plexus. And 10 days in, I got my smile back. My husband woke up in the morning and he looked at me and was like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I'm happy." And he's like, "Oh, wow, that's awesome." I got my smile back after 10 days. So, and, you get your smile back and then you're able to go for people who are chronically constipated. That's huge, So you're doing this like woohoo dance. And just every week, just feeling better and better and better. I wrote all these things down that I'm supposed to say and I'm skipping all of it. One thing that I've discovered that this is me. Like I always thought that I was this introvert who didn't like people, who was shy, and it wasn't true. I believed it, but it's not true. That's just where I was comfortable, like, oh, this is really hard. I had all these issues with my gut with candida and interfering with all these different things. And so I'm like, I'm really shy, so I'm not going to talk to you. And I go to a party and leave, and I would never say anything to anyone. And now it's like I want to talk to everybody, and I just want people to feel better. So call it pushy, call it what you want. I want you to feel better. So anyway, yeah, I totally diverted off my plan. So, and in your gut, your insulin, your serotonin, all of this is in your belly. That's where it comes from. So if you have all these imbalances, then of course you're going to feel depressed. So instead of going to the doctor and paying the money for that, you can deal with the root cause, So I said that this was going to be about hormone imbalance, but really it's so many different things. I mean, got my smile back. I lost inflammation. I lost my gut. I am happy. I'm crying, but I'm happy. And I'm, when I was little, I was the girl who would always have a friend. I'd go camping. I'd find a friend. I'd go, to Florida and get a pen pal. Like I was an outgoing kid. And I lied to myself for so many years. So I am that person again, and it feels really good. So sorry for all the things I didn't say, but yeah.
Bethany, don't be sorry about anything. And Jenny made the comment of it's passion, and that's exactly what it is. And I remember when you first started sharing and we would like communicate, and you were very timid, and I have seen you grow just the past couple of weeks and months. Like you are doing awesome, and your before and after is great. And
it's so embarrassing.
No, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
You should be so proud of yourself. Like really, truly. And it's interesting how you say you always thought you were an introvert, and really truly you just weren't feeling good. Right. And then balancing out your gut, you realize that no, I can socialize, and I'm a very happy person, and I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you so much for sharing. It was awesome. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Daisy. I can't wait to hear her story.
Hello, my name is Daisy, and first of all, I want to say I am so proud of Beth. I've known Beth for a really long time. I think we're getting close to the 10-year mark. I was very lucky enough to take care of her little girl a long time ago when I was still teaching. And Beth is an amazing person who would give you her heart, soul, or anything that you ever needed. And to see her happy and see her smiling is amazing. We stood in my driveway, and I'm not a salesperson by any means. And I'm trying to explain to her how this product is changing me. And I'm so proud of her and so proud of everything that she has done and what she's doing to make herself better and what she's doing to share her story and helping other people. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because I'm so proud of her. So again, my name is Daisy. I was a teacher for 25 years, and I did stop teaching a couple of years ago. I have always taught in some kind of public pre-K program, a Head Start, a YMCA, various programs that often exposed me and my immune system to germs that were dangerous for my body. And so I had to make a decision a couple of years ago to stop teaching. Ironically, I work in a hospital now. So I totally went from one thing to the other, but I do stay pretty protected in the hospital. But as my journey started when I was little, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my knees hurt horribly all the time. I complained about them on a regular basis, and my parents were self-business owners. We didn't have insurance, so it was often you're fine, it's growing pains, we're gonna be okay, try some Motrin, try some Tylenol, all that lovely stuff. And I was, early 80s at that point. Juvenile arthritis was not something that was talked about. And if it was talked about in a specialist situation, which my family would not have been able to afford at the time. When I was about 12 and a half or 13, I woke up one morning and couldn't walk. And it was impossible. I went from being a kid that played outside constantly. We owned greenhouses. My family owns a logging company, a sawmill. My family lived outside, and I couldn't get to the front door. And so my mom ended up making an appointment with the PCP, and they decided at that point that I had Osgood-Schlatter's disease, which is when your joints aren't growing as fast as your body. And at 5th grade, I had reached my maximum height. So in 5th grade, I was 5'8.5", which for most people, that's pretty tall. In 5th grade, you usually grow a little bit later. So I was done growing by 5th grade. So they just assumed at that point that it was Osgood-Schlatter's disease and that I would grow out of it as soon as my joints had a chance to catch up. And when I was 16, I developed chronic sinus infections, could not get rid of them. And I went to an emergency room because I had a chronic bloody nose that we could not get rid of. And so my mom took me and they gave me an antibiotic, which had sulfur in it. And at the time, I had a massive reaction to the sulfur drugs, which I had never had sulfur drugs before, so we didn't know. I also didn't know, and we didn't know as a family at the time, that if you are an RA patient or a rheumatoid arthritis patient, that sulfur drugs would cause a massive reaction. So I had a massive flare. I basically did everything that my body would normally do with an arthritic flare, but in hyperspeed. So again, woke up the next morning from taking this antibiotic, completely covered in hives, can't walk, every joint swollen. It was miserable. So they stopped taking the drugs. It went away. I moved forward with my life just thinking I was allergic to sulfur drugs. And then I had 3 kids. Every once in a while I had an ache and a pain. And I was moving forward, became super active in running. My goal was at 36 that I was going to run a marathon by 40 years old. Super determined to do this. So I was running a lot. And at 37 years old, my body halted. And so if you know anything about rheumatoid arthritis, it's basically your body is attacking your joints at any given time. So for normal people that have arthritis in itself, I will never discredit, is extremely painful. Mine is that basically my joints are starting to deform. At any given point, they are not doing their job. My body is fighting against them at all times, and your inflammation rates are extremely high in most capacities. So at 39 years old, I went to the doctor, finally gave up after feeling miserable and having random swelling. It wasn't like I had swelling everywhere. I had a wrist that I would wake up one morning. The next morning, my wrist would be fine. My left finger would be swollen. 5 days later, I couldn't move an elbow. I couldn't move my feet. It was just constant. It was not going away, and it was constant. So we did some testing. Was pretty certain I had Lyme's. We camp, we're extremely outdoor people, so I was just determined that I have Lyme's, this is what's going to happen. And my lupus panel came back positive. So they immediately decided that they would send me to a rheumatologist to deal with that. In the state of Maine, there are about 4 rheumatologists. One of them's up north, one of them is in Portland, one is in Lewiston, and one is in Bangor. So Bangor and up north were not an option for me, and Portland and Lewiston were 9 months out from my date of my blood work to when I could see a specialist. So I needed to take matters in my own hands and start looking for something that was going to help fix the situation. And so I started waiting for my rheumatology visit, and at the same time doing a lot of research on autoimmune disorders. Since I didn't know what I had, I just had to do the broad search. And I kept coming back to your gut. Everything is going to base around your gut. There were all kinds of studies being done in 2016, and this just happened to be the time with the Arthritis Foundation, finding out that leaky gut was huge. The statement kept resonating with me, and it was unbalanced microbes, lead to misguided immune systems. And so it was constant that you have got to take care of your insides if you're going to take care of your autoimmune disorders. And if you have autoimmune, you normally do not just have one, you have 3 or 4. So I got blessed with endometriosis and migraines as my other 2, something I'd suffered with for a while. And Shana Wright, who I love and adore, was also one of my parents. Once you're a teacher, everybody's a parent and family. So that's kind of how it works. Sheena kept coming back. She's been trying for like a year. She kept saying, Daisy, I really think this would help you. Daisy, I really think you should do this. So in January, I said, you know what? I'm breaking down. I will try ease. That is it. This is all I can do. This is all my budget can allow for. And so I decided to try ease. And at the same time, COVID was happening. And so the medications that are on, which if you take a medication for rheumatoid arthritis, it's either a biologic, which messes with your immune system even more than you already have issues with, or you take methotrexate, which is chemotherapy. So you're using small doses of chemotherapy or biologics. And with working in a hospital and being around children and having my husband work in the public and as an essential worker, I made the decision as a family that I would stop taking my medications for rheumatoid arthritis to be able to support not getting COVID, hopefully trying to prevent me in that way. So this magic little pen that every week I jabbed myself with went away, and I stopped taking it and I started ease. And I will tell you, there was a noticeable difference just with the ease to begin with. It wasn't perfect. I don't want anybody to think that I don't, that it's pain-free. I don't want people to think that I'm telling you this is going to take RA away. It did reduce my inflammation though, and it dramatically reduced it in labs pretty instantly. And so within a couple of weeks, I had labs done. A couple of weeks later, I needed to have them done for something else I was doing. And my inflammation rates had gone down by a significant amount. Your inflammation rates naturally lie somewhere in the 0 to 12 range. Mine run somewhere between 200 to 800, depending on the extent of where I'm at for flare wise. So I was down to like the 300 range, which for me is huge. And so that was amazing. So I kept going with just the ease. And then the great special that they had going in May, where you got to join for free and become an ambassador, and you got to try it for the $89. And then they took another $10 off. And so finally I said to Shane, okay, I will do it. So I did it. And it's been a couple of months. My inflammation rates did go slightly up during detox. That's normal. Detox is something we talk about a lot with Plexus. The first couple of months can be rough. If you can willing to hang in there, it's gone up. I am doing really well. I feel great. I am glad to share the products. I share them at work. I carry around this constant thing of pink drink. The people are like, yep, there's Daisy's pink drink. But it's great. And I have huge difference in my feeling of my body, the ability to move, and the ability to just feel more human again. RA can make you feel very gross and dragged down, and you have a constant brain fog. It affects your eyes. So I am wearing my glasses right now because my writing is horrible, if anybody knows me. So I have to wear my glasses to make sure. But I actually don't have to wear them all the time because the inflammation rates have gone down enough with using the Plexus. And that is the only thing I've changed. I stopped taking my medication. I changed to Plexus. And I did talk to a couple of other girls that are on the site that have RA. They do continue to do a maintenance drug. So I did switch to a very slow dose of the methotrexate once a week, just to make sure that I'm not letting the joint damage happen. But other than that, I use just Plexus for all my inflammation rates. So it's been amazing. So I'm very glad to share. I hope that if anybody does have an autoimmune, they would definitely give Plexus a try because it's something that would make a huge difference in your life. And with autoimmune, every little bit helps. You just want to be a normal human person. So it's important to share, get out there, and make sure that people know Plexus will make a difference in your life if you're willing to give it a shot.
That is absolutely correct, Casey. Thank you so much for sharing. It is incredible how gut health affects everything, right?
Everything.
And it really is. It's incredible. And I'm so happy that you have had such incredible results. That is awesome. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, we got husband and wife combo going tonight, Scott and Jenny, and I'm going to let them take it away.
Hi, thanks for having me on tonight. So I started Plexus 3.5 years ago, and I didn't start because I had anything wrong with me. I started because my wife told me to start taking Plexus. So, I'm getting into it, and I'm not seeing all these dramatic changes like my wife was having. And about 2 months into it, I'm still taking Plexus. I'm being consistent with it. And I'm coming down the stairs one day, and I used to have to grab onto the railing every day because my knee would give out. I'd almost fall down. So I'm walking down the stairs, and she's sitting in a chair, and I go, "Hey, does this stuff help with knee pain?" And she goes, "Absolutely, it's inflammation." I said, "Well, it's working because I haven't had any knee pain in a long time." I had to quit playing racquetball because if anybody's played racquetball before, you know that you're always moving left and right. I couldn't do it anymore. My knee would give out. It was way too painful. I believe I could play racquetball now. I don't have any problems. I'm in a bowling league that doesn't give me any problems. So, and I can pretty much do whatever I want without my knee hurting at the end of the day. And then at that same time, I'm realizing, I'm like, hey, I used to take ibuprofen every single day at work. I had headaches every single day. I can't remember the last time I took ibuprofen for a headache at work. And so at that time, I probably hadn't really taken it for at least, 7 weeks. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's really helping with that also. So that was awesome. So, I'm not killing my stomach with ibuprofen anymore. And, and I just couldn't believe that those two things were working for me. And I'm like, I didn't think I had any problems. So, and then probably about a year and a half into Plexus, we're cleaning the bedroom out. We're doing something. I think we bought a new mattress or something. And we find underneath the bed, we find my wrist braces that I haven't worn for a year and a half that I had to wear every night because my wrists were killing me. I do a lot of computer work, a lot of carpal tunnel type stuff. And I was like, hey, I haven't worn these and I don't know when. They're all dusty and gross. We threw them away, So we get into it for a couple of years and we're doing it. And I go to a dermatologist every year and have some moles checked and everything. And they used to give me a skin cream for the wintertime because I used to get eczema, dry skin, and I'd have to put that on all the time. I haven't used any of that in at least 3 years. So, I mean, that's the first year. I think probably the first year I still had a little bit of dry skin, but probably was healing the gut, and then that all went away. So I don't have to use that anymore, which is awesome. I have way more energy than I've ever had before. You come home from work and take a little nap. I can't tell you the last time I did any of that stuff. And probably the most recent thing that I've started is my job is pretty stressful at times. Not all the time, but sometimes it is. So I started taking Vitabiome, and that seems to have slowed everything down for me and allows me to think straight without snapping, and just handle situations a lot better. So again, I didn't have any problems at all, nothing. So, and I am only doing this because my wife told me to, and I am so glad she told me to. I feel way better. And, sometimes it's the little things you have to look for to see what it's actually doing for you. And you have to think back of the things that you were doing before. And you're like, wow, because it really took 2 months for me to even see any difference. And then, you know, and then all of a sudden, hey, wait, the headaches, all that stuff's gone. So, and I'm so thankful for Plexus, and I'm so thankful for everybody that shares Plexus with people, because, you know, everybody needs help. Everybody has something that's probably wrong with them, you know, that could use a little relief. So thanks for having me on tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, Scott. Thank you so much. And I know it's funny when, like, my husband, he actually said to me tonight when we were washing dishes, and he's like, so I haven't been taking Ease, but for some reason I have been having no pain. Like, my hands are fine. I go, well, because you're taking the other products and you're being consistent. So you're reducing your inflammation. And it's like, it's funny when you start noticing that, oh, okay, I guess I did have this issue, but now it's gone. So, and it's always finding those, like the wristbands, like finding those. That's always like that, oh yeah. So yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm so glad you listened to Jenny.
Me too.
All right. So
He's pretty good.
he's pretty good.
So he says he has a kind of a stressful job. You guys, he's a postmaster.
Yeah.
This situation and the things we have going on right now, a few years ago, like Scott and I have only been together for 9 years, married for 6. And things, I could tell if he was stressed out, because he would come home and he would go take a nap, go sit in his chair, like go read, like just, and not be present with the family because he just didn't handle stress. And now, like, I don't know how he's handling all his hats that he's wearing right now with his job, but we don't see any of that when he comes home at night. So that's amazing in itself. So my name is Jenny Provencher, and I've been with Plexus for 3.5 years. I was extremely, extremely sick, and these products absolutely saved my life. I was diagnosed with Lyme, but it took a long time to figure that out. And, you know, if you want to hear my story, by all means, please, please reach out to me. But I love to tell about, like, Scott feeling better and other family members. Daisy just shared about, you know, RA. My mom has struggled with RA since she was 32 years old and lives on a very fixed income, and she will never, ever, ever go without these products. My dad was probably the hardest. My dad had high cholesterol, he was diabetic. He started working in the woods when he was 15 years old. And just really, you know, that's hard work, you know, back then they didn't have machines to cut all this down, you know, and that's a very young age to work. So he's had surgery on both his feet, on both his hands. Like, he just, you know, didn't feel great, didn't get around well, put on a bunch of weight, and just started to, you know, go into this depression of all these things falling apart. And then he had high cholesterol, and he was on blood sugar meds, and his doctor told him 2 years ago that if he didn't get it under control, that he was going to start injections. He was very depressed and would turn to food. Like, his eating habits were horrible. And I tried so hard not to be that nagging daughter, but I was just so concerned about him. And I would just be like, Dad, you know, you saw, like, me go from laying on the couch. I had to sell my business because I physically couldn't work it, sleeping, crying, doctors after doctors with no answers. And I took these 3 products, and look at me now. Like, how can you not do this? Like, just listen to me. 2 years, you guys, 2.5 years. And so I don't know what really made my dad switch. But prior to Plexus, he could barely walk around the block. And we're in a little tiny town. Like, when I say around the block, it's like 1 lap around the track, like, and sit down and be exhausted. And we would have family functions, birthday parties, kids running all around, 20-something people for Christmas. And my dad would be sitting in the chair and just fall asleep. like just be out sleeping, have no idea what's going on. So last August, he finally said, okay, Jenny, like, what if I do this pink drink? What if I take, the stuff that you tell me to take? And I'm like, really? We gonna do it? So then we ordered it, and I came home and I'm like, that was a waste of money because he's not gonna take it. He's not gonna do it. He's just ordering it. So I'll shut up and I'll leave him alone. And I did. I come home, I'm like, and so my sister-in-law's on here. Liz is my sister-in-law, and she's saying, yep, that's what we all thought. We all thought he was ordering it to just shut me up. But amazingly, he has stayed consistent. And I have never seen, so when I was younger, my dad was an alcoholic. He hasn't drank in years. He's, been a reformed alcoholic for a long time. So I'm proud of him for that. But like, he always had like something there. Like he was either sick or he was hurt or, he was an alcoholic, or like, I've never known my dad in a good space. But he has lost 60 pounds. He's not on his diabetic meds. He's not on his cholesterol meds. He walks anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 steps a day. He'll take pictures on the top of a mountain. He's present, and he's at the grandkids' games, and he's present in conversation. And if you ever look at my Facebook, like, he's like overly compensating for all those years that he wasn't present. Like, he just is always posting on my page and always shouting out to the kids, the grandkids. And it has been absolutely amazing. So if you're sitting here, one, and you haven't given these products a try, like, listen to all the things that it's helped with tonight. And two, it's passion. You're not bugging anybody. You're not trying to sell anybody anything. You're trying to help them and give them some relief and show them a new way and give them hope. Just in my house alone, like, my son doesn't have psoriasis or anxiety anymore. I didn't tell my aunt about the products for a long time because I didn't want her to feel like I was selling to her. And a year later, she's like, Jenny, do you think this could help me? I go home every day from work. I take a nap. I take ibuprofen, and I'm in a lot of pain. I had no idea she was struggling with that. And had I said something to her a year ago, I could have saved her some of that time. So my passion now is, in the beginning, I did think like, oh, I don't want to tell people, I don't want to bug them. I never, ever, ever think that anymore, because there's people silently suffering and we don't really know their story. And don't give up on your loved ones because my dad's story is incredible.
Yes, it is, Jenny. Thank you so much for sharing that. I always love listening to you talk. It's always like every time I've heard you tell your story many times, and every time I hear your story, it's like I just cry. It is amazing. I'm so glad how well your father is doing. Is he just on the triplex, or?
Yep, just the triplex.
Just the triplex.
But I mean, it's helped him so much. Like, he's eating apples and bananas. And previous, like, I would be like, Dad, no kidding, you're laying in bed and you hurt and your ankles are this big around. Like, you can't live off peanut butter and fluff. Like, just had terrible, terrible eating habits, and nothing you could say or do, but, changed any of that. And now he drinks the pink drink and he's like, oh, sometimes this is just so sweet. And I'm like, really, Dad? Like, but it really has changed his, he doesn't drink soda anymore. I mean, his transformation is absolutely just incredible.
Awesome. That is, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for any of our sharers? No? Okay. I wanted to throw a quick question out to Bethany real quick, if you don't mind, just real quick question. So Bethany, can you just share with us how long have you been on the products and how long have you been sharing?
I've been on the product since June 16th.
Since June?
Yeah, since June. And I've been sharing since, I don't know.
It's okay. So it's been like pretty much like 2.5, 3 months?
Yeah.
That you've been taking the products?
Yeah. And I said I wasn't going to share, so don't ask me. And then I got all mad. And then within probably 2 days, I'm like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah. So basically, you were able to be consistent and within the 2.5, 3 months, be able to already have incredible results and feel so much better, especially during this tough time we're having. So that is awesome. Oh, I love it all. So as you guys can see, 4 different stories, pretty much all the same product, just it's all gut stuff. Inflammation, we take care of that, and it helps so much. So please reach out to the person that invited you here, that has shared this video with you. They want to help you feel better. They are here to support you in every way, all right? You guys all have a wonderful good night. Thank you so much for jumping on.